Some brands, unfortunately, before they expect people to even know they exist, they already want sales.
Yeah, I think I understand where you're coming from because
Welcome to episode 2 of Let's Talk Marketing with Ceddy, aka myself. Alright, so today we're going to talk about influencer marketing. And what is influencer marketing if you are asking? Well, before that, whether you are a business owner or aspiring influencer or even a seasoned influencer, this episode is dedicated to you. Why? Because, like it or not, influencer marketing is one of the latest promotional tools where brands will engage influencers to promote their products or services. Some of you may say, I don't like the word influencer, it's very cringy because of how some creators or influencers portray themselves on media. But I'm here to tell you that the word is officially being used in marketing textbooks because they have to acknowledge that there are certain people who have certain level of influence and followings. Therefore, they are also known as KOL, which is key opinion leaders. All right. So you can think of influencers as a walking billboard. And as somebody who I've always been a creator, I always call myself a content creator, but somehow the media labels me as an influencer. So I feel like, I would like to talk about what I do when a brand engages me. Basically, some people will say, all you do is to just record videos and all. Yes, you are right. But most of the time, I'm thinking about how to help the brand or the business communicate their USP. I'm using all the jargons. That means unique selling point or unique selling proposition, meaning what's so special about them. How do I communicate what is so special about the business to my followings? So the difference between me and a billboard is that billboard is generally catered to a mass group of people. You drive past your NKVE highway, you see the billboard. Doesn't matter you are the right audience or not, they will have to the message will be communicated to you. But for me, because I have a certain set of audience, therefore some businesses who are, let's say they run food, they are in the F&B industry, they will engage me because they know that people who follow me, they follow me because they want to see where I go and makan, what's the latest food in the scene. So today, I have a guest who is actually giving me no headache at all because, some of you might not know or may know that whenever I post a video about a certain restaurant, right, the common question I got is halal ke tak? It's not that I have a problem answering that, but this gentleman here, his name is Peter Q, owner of Malatub. He makes my life so much easier because he already got the halal certificate done and ready in front of his shop. If you walk there, it's there. And then when people ask me, is it halal ke tak? Look at the sign je lah. So, welcome to Let's Talk Marketing with Ceddy. Peter, I'm so glad you are here and you want to do an introduction of yourself.
Sure, thanks, Ceddy. It's really an honor to be here today. And just a quick introduction. My name is Peter Q, and I'm part of the owners of Malatub, and I'm also a food scientist who has this huge passion for the F&B industry. So really glad that we're here today to explore this topic.
Yeah, I am so impressed. I wouldn't say surprised. Surprised means, I look down on you, but I'm very impressed when you say you're also a food scientist. And not just you are a food scientist, the reason why I think you are a very good guest, because number one, when I spoke to you the other day, you seem to know very, you know your things. And also, you think for the Muslim consumers who might be very particular about the halalness. And you went, as a Chinese business owner, you're like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna cater to my Muslim consumers by getting the halal cert. I'm like, that is just professional of you. Work ethic is good, and you basically know your stuff. All right.
To be honest, the brainchild or the ideation of this whole business was really because when we started off and we were actually brainstorming sebab MCO kan, like too free, nothing to do. And then a group of our friends, we were pitching on ideas together. And right before the MCO lockdown happened, it so happened that I was actually in Xi'an. And if you don't know, Xi'an is actually really famous for a lot of local archaeology. It used to be the capital, the old capital of China. You have terracotta warriors and all that there. But the one thing that really stood out to me was the Muslim quarters. So there's a region, whole area that all of them look Chinese, but they're wearing tudung and everything they serve is halal. And that really changed my perspective on what Chinese food should be. You know, like a lot of people think Chinese food must have pork lard and delicious
Correct.
and all that. But to be honest, when I was there, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it made me want to explore more of this sort of foods. And as a Malaysian, I always identify myself as Malaysian first.
Okay.
Like people say like, oh no, like you're Chinese, but I don't grow up in China. It's like, so for me, whenever they ask me about my race, I will always take line. Because they'll ask you Malay, Chinese, Indian, right? I'll take line and I put in Malaysian.
Okay.
So
okay.
and as a Malaysian that I grew up here, I have a lot of Muslim friends. But it's so sad that, you know, as Malaysians we bond over food so much.
Yep.
And then unfortunately, right, we are not able to share our food culture with our Muslim friends.
Correct.
So I felt that, you know, if I can do something that's within my means, to be honest, the halal certification is daunting. There's a lot of all these false beliefs that we pass on from the older generation. But as you dwell into it, the JAKIM system is beautiful. I like standard certifications. I love it because they give you a framework. They'll tell you, oh, this is what you need to do, and then you follow lah. And when you follow, it's not that difficult, to be honest.
And when you follow the guidelines, right, HAY, I also do my research, you know. Like when you follow, right, and you really got it, right, it means your place is really clean.
Yes.
It is up to their standard, because for you to get the certificate, they are very strict.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like I said, the reason why I mentioned you, I purposely use the word Chinese is because, sadly to say, I will be very honest here, many Chinese owners, right, when they say, oh, we also want to serve our food to Muslim consumers, correct, you can do that, but you don't take the extra step to think about whether, okay, what if they really care about the halalness and whatnot. You can't just say, oh, we don't have pork, and then call it a day. That's not how it works, right?
And also, like, many people use pork free and instantaneously, like, they make it something halal. So I'm sure you have your experiences on social media.
All the time.
So when we started this business, we know we're serving Chinese food. We did our market research. What's the main thing that consumers care most about? It's actually whether or not it's halal. Like, somehow, you know, it's Chinese food.
Correct.
So to get that halal certification is an extra effort, but I think it's worth it because it gives the consumers this, you know, peace in heart, you know.
Yeah, that is very thoughtful of you. Now, I'm not gonna spend like 2 hours talking about the halal certification. If you guys have that question, please feel free to reach out to Peter separately, because today I'm gonna bring it back to influencer marketing. The reason why I have Peter on is because I have done promotional work for Peter's business Malatup. And yeah, I've talked about as an influencer, you know, this is what I do and all, but I would like to hear from your point of view, your thoughts on influencer marketing as a whole. Like, why did you go that route?
So as you know, Ceddy, we're SMEs, and if you look at the landscape of Malaysia, more than 97% of the companies in Malaysia, they are SMEs, and they contribute like 38% of the GDP. So for an SME, you don't have that kind of budget to engage like superstars, celebrities. Of course, if we can, you know, of course, I'm not talking about you're not a superstar. You are a diva. You are like a celebrity in a sense. But I'm talking about like those people who are like in the millions, who are very much in the local scene, where when they charge you for the amount, it's like a different level. You know, we're talking about a few 100,000, like that kind of range, and not many SMEs can afford that.
Correct.
So for us, with a very minimal budget, how do we actually then look into penetrating in the most cost-effective way? So when you look into it, even in media nowadays, it's so fragmented. We look at the TV media channels. Even there are channels catered towards Chinese. There are specific channels catered towards English. Even within that, there are segments of fitness, F&B. You have areas of beauty, food. So it becomes so fragmented that you need to have a hyper-targeted kind of campaign in order to make it in a very cost-efficient manner. So hence, after exploring everything, we decided that, I think influencer marketing is the way to go. In fact, with the landscape being so complicated and so fragmented, we need to be hyper-targeting our market segment. So that's one of the ways why we're using influencers, really.
That is a very smart answer. The reason why I ask you that is because there are some businesses who unfortunately do not believe in influencer marketing. I don't fault them, but what would be your advice for businesses who say, hey, can harap meh, get this influencer, all they do is look pretty, post with the food.
So there are two parts to that. My response. Number one is the understanding of media evolution. Like in the past, when newspapers came out, when radio stations came out, many people don't believe it. They maybe they're kind of like the laggards. It takes time for them to come to a very comfortable position of being accepting of this new technology. And I think personally that as time progresses, you look at how we enter into the media era where television came on, and then the smartphones came on in the 2000s, and then now with the World Wide Web, everything, I think there is this, we need to be open to accepting new things. And perhaps even when TikTok launched initially, I myself found it hard for me to adopt to it. And you know what, I would actually admit this, that when I understood TikTok, but it's just that I'm not in their market segment. But unfortunately, because of my business and my consumers are on TikTok, so it forced me to explore and to learn about the platform. And then when you understand the platform, my goodness, it's a whole new world in there.
It's a whole new world.
Yeah. And I think generally also, I just want to talk about people who don't believe in influencers, because influencers sounds like a jargon thing, right?
Yeah, a lot of people
to be
hate
honest,
that word.
I like the word content creator much more.
Same.
Yeah, because as you know me, I actually value influencers for the content they create. And because for me, content creators or influencers are in a way an artist. So the way we actually engage them, we give them the absolute free will to do things in their manner, in their style, with their personality. I don't want to force a very forced character onto them where they're not authentic anymore.
True.
People follow you because you're authentic.
Oh my God, brands, please take note, please. You know what I like about working with Peter is that I was given full creative freedom.
Yeah.
Like literally, you don't even ask for draft. Like you don't even tell me I want to see, what you do and all. You are like, you just post lah.
Yeah.
And I told you, if you leave it to me, I think I will deliver it the way it will be beneficial for both of you. But I also understand that sometimes brands can be a little bit hesitant because there are some influencers who don't wear the marketing head when they like, oh, Peter asked me to come and eat. I come here, I just record the video, I make it look aesthetic. Done lah.
Yeah.
And I think that is the reason why people find it like, if I hire this content creator, this is the kind of work that I get. So how do you seek out influencer to promote your business?
I think first off, you need to really understand your own market segment. Like who actually are you catering your food, your business to, and who are the people that you are targeting. And from there, then you look out onto profiles of people who have or share the same market audience, and through them, then you get a really authentic response. People follow each other for a reason, people follow Ceddy majority, like for food, for example. When you speak of certain things or you put out a review, it's an honest review. There's so much trust that's being put in your review. And
I hope. I hope.
But anyway, regardless of that, at least the exposure is already a win. So because people get to know you, and at the end of the day, I always think of influencers. They are not like profit guarantee thing. Like people think that.
Thank you.
That's what I think as a business, because at the end of the day, promotion is only one part of the 4Ps. You have the product, you need to have the right place. It is a total package.
The price,
you need to get the whole package right. And marketing is just one aspect of the whole business.
Correct. And thank you so much for mentioning the part where it's not profit guarantee, because even as a creator, right, I tell you, I've had many creator friends myself, no name dropping, don't ask. It's like, I've seen some people who just take on deals after deals after deals, and of course, easy money, If you have a certain following, you just take the deal. But for me, right, sometimes even when I accept a certain engagement, right, I will be like, what if this doesn't work? I always think about this. Like, I always think about, what if, the views is not as good as I hoped, it didn't go viral? Of course, just a quick note, if you're a business owner, please don't harap your video to always go viral. You cannot manufacture virality, okay? It doesn't work that way. You have to pay the platform X amount of money to make your videos go viral, but itu pun fake. But if you want it to organically do well, it's not that easy. Sometimes you have to be at the right place, the right time. The product is super out of the world. But my point is, there's only so much an influencer can do when it comes to awareness marketing. This is why, in marketing funnel, oh my god, we're going back to marketing class. The first stage is always awareness. Some brands, unfortunately, before they expect people to even know they exist, they already want sales.
Yeah, I think I understand where you're coming from. Because but I'm gonna answer you this from a consumer perspective. It's because as consumers, we don't like to see ads.
Correct.
Even though if you're an influencer that I follow, when I know that it's a sponsored post, the engagement automatically drops.
I know.
So unfortunately, influencers need to makan also.
Correct.
But the idea, to re-angle this really, the way I look at it for social media influencers is that we are living in an era where we are constantly bombarded by ads.
Correct.
And social media influencers helps us to cut through that noise, to retarget the audience in a very effective manner. So because people like to listen to real, authentic truths, of they want to listen to your opinions, what you think about it, whether or not to buy or to purchase or to convert, that conversion is totally up to them. But at least as a social media influencer, the important part is that you are reaching out my product, my business to the target audience that I need. So that's where I'm always coming from.
Thank you so much. I would love to say, if you are listening to this again and again, I cannot guarantee, sales. Nobody, in fact, no influencers or content creators or KOL can tell you that if they make a video for you, confirm will have sales. If they say confirm, that means they ask their mother, their father to buy. That is the reality. So, but of course, you can't just say, we cannot guarantee profit. And of course, we already established that we cannot guarantee profit. But you can't just say, I'm going to park a certain budget for influencer and just like that. How do you measure success of the work and whatnot?
I think as a business owner, what I felt is that, number one, definitely engagement and awareness is one thing. So when we look at, we actually always get metrics from the influencers, and then we compile them. Then you can actually work out on the cost per reach, and then you realize actually it's a lot cheaper compared to throwing on a mass reach kind of advertisement or even
billboard
campaigns. Yeah, billboards for example. You can't tell like with billboards like how many people have seen this billboard. It's very hard. So at least from social media influencers, you get those metrics. Then you can at least peg it. But aside from that, of course, real conversions, profits, not a guarantee, but to a certain extent, a successful campaign will always show you some form of conversion. It is actually quite, so even for Malatub itself, what we have seen is that, number one is that after engaging all our influencers, we have actually seen the sales coming up. And because in the past, no one knows about us, we're in this back row of TDDI that you don't really go there. It's not where traffic usually goes to. So we are really thankful for influencers who reach it out.
No, actually, you just waste it. It's there, okay? It's in TDDI. It's not so hidden like what he said, okay? Let's not kill your business like that, all right? So now, here's the part where we spill the tea.
All right.
Do you have any horror stories working with influencers? No need to name drop. After the show, you can.
Much earlier on, we do have influencers who approach us and they actually do quote us.
Wait. Hold on.
Okay.
I have to cut you. They approach you and then they quote you.
Yeah. So they will actually quote us and offer us that we see you guys doing influencer programs. So we are actually a group of influencers and we're here to actually, share with you this pitch. So, and this is the price for it. And we're going to do how many postings and things like that. So it's a different way around. But the thing is, when you look into their profiles, sometimes we do our screening, we do our due diligence.
Of course.
So to a certain extent, you can see, because we always categorize our influencers mid-tier, top tier, or even KOCs by the number of followers and engagement. And sometimes, a lot of times, especially in Malaysia, I think as this area has been booming, a lot of people are getting unauthentic followers.
They buy followers.
Yes, I try to put it nicely, but
yeah.
And you can tell that actually there are engines that you can use to verify whether or not they're true. And I think when that's sadly one of the cases where we start to notice that there are certain people who are trying to monetize it in a not very untruthful way. Yeah.
Okay, but is that the nightmare, the only nightmare?
I think not only that.
Okay, yes, do tell.
There are some people who are quite hard to handle.
Oh.
Not you. You are really nice.
Just because I have you on the show, you don't have to like that. Okay, you don't have to be okay. I don't think I was hard to.
No.
I mean, because you were very easy to work with,
Yeah.
and you trust me.
Yeah.
The best thing about working with you and other businesses who I have very good relationship with is that you guys already know what I do.
Yeah.
So you kind of like I think he knows what he's doing. The trust is there, and I think when we establish trust with each other, right? Oh my God, the work is gonna come out very beautifully.
Yeah.
But your side, what is the heart? What's the story? So that people who listen to this, you don't repeat whatever that the nightmare person is doing. You know.
There are certain dramas. For example, like the posting itself maybe it's not complete on time, or the quality of the post is not what you wanted. It could have been done better, but then at the end of the day, the content creators themselves do not want to revise the formats. For example, like if I can give you a total free hand, and if I have to tell them to rework on it, it means like it's not good. It's quite dangerous. So hence those are some of the examples. Yeah.
Okay, but I have to rewind a little bit when he said, if you're an aspiring influencer, or you are already an influencer, or you call yourself one, okay, please don't go to a business and then say you need to pay me to make a video for you. Unless they approach you themselves, you should go there and eat. The beauty about paying for your own food, let me tell you, content creators, is that you are able to say whatever you want, unfiltered, without offending Peter's feeling. Like, okay, if he pays me, right, and okay, let's be real here, Malatup didn't serve bad food. But if in the event, right, there's a food that is really terrible, because he paid me, I have to think about, oh my God, number one, how is he gonna feel if I say, ayo, the food teruk? Or two, now I'm lying to my audience. So the best part is you go into a business, pay for your own food. Where poor is it? No, we're entitled. I feel like some influencers are very entitled,
Yeah.
Why am I bashing them when I'm also part of the community? But that's the reality of it. I've also heard about stories where people will walk into a shop and then they're like, I'm also an influencer that you pay for the food. Have you dealt with people like that? Not
Very
yet.
seldom nowadays. I think it's also because I think in the past we always feel that the following number is very important, but now as you look into the direction of how the segmentation of how we actually categorize influencers, this new segment called KOC I think is very interesting because they don't have a big following.
What is that?
Key opinion consumers.
Oh.
So they are actually a level where they are in the few thousands. They don't really have a massive following. I think predominantly it was this term started off from China when they're doing their marketing, and from KOCs, they are actually considered very authentic reviews because you can ask them to review a product and they have the right to choose whether or not they want to review your product. And usually it's free because they don't have a big following. You just give them a product and then you can ask them, if you want to post a review for me or whatnot. So, but KOCs typically they are seen as very, very genuine because they don't do this for a living. They don't do reviews for a living. But because you are sending me your products or your services, and if I try them, I like it, I'll post it on my social media. And the people who see it are typically my friends, my family members, people that I know of maybe. So hence, from there on, I think KOC is actually a very interesting segment.
Yeah, and that's why, right, sometimes when we have businesses who call my manager and then they say, can you come over to our place and bring your influencer friends? See, I have a problem with that. Why must it be influencer friends? Do you think my friends who may not have like billion followers, right, they don't have influence? Sometimes they have.
Yeah.
It's always, right, the ones with like, they who do this just as a hobby.
Yeah.
They don't even take it as a living. They go somewhere and eat, right? They're like, oh my God, this food is trash, don't go, and then. Sometimes people will believe in them more than me.
Yeah, but I'm just quite interested on that note. So you mentioned that they invited you to review their food products. How do you like respond to them now? Like being an influencer, if they send you a message and say, "Hey, Ceddy, come review my food. It's free on free on our tab. You don't need to pay for anything. Bring your influencer friends." So what's your response to those kind of questions?
So the response, okay, first is we don't do this for free, because I have to say some of us do this for a living. I cannot just take this as a hobby anymore because I'm booked and busy. So now I'm doing podcasts and I'm doing a lot of things. And I cannot afford to just do it for free out of nowhere. You have to compensate your content creator. If you believe in your content creators' work, you should at least think about compensating them. Like for example, okay, I will digress a little bit. Hotels as an example. I have to say this. Some of them, they're like, oh, we give you free stay. Correct lah. But first of all, if your hotel in Klang Valley, right? I also have a house in Klang Valley, ma. Why I have to purposely go there? And then I have to put my pets for boarding. Expenses. Now I travel there. So who's covering all that? Right? And I feel like you have to pay. And also, if you tell me about, you need to bring influencer friend, my answer is like, no, I don't have, lor. I don't, I mean like, why? One is not good enough, is it?
So hence, what I was going to say just now was that everyone is an influencer in their own...
Correct.
Right, yeah. So we all have our own areas of circle of influence, like it or not. So as long as if you're on social media, you are, in a way, an influencer.
People who are absolutely against the word influencer, sometimes... you are one.
Yes.
You just don't know.
Exactly.
Whether it's positive influence, negative influence, is still you are influencing something. A lot of people that I hate influence. Yeah, because you are looking at the problematic ones out there. But sometimes, if you could just advise, hey, today, right, I was eating at this place, right? It's good, you all should try. And then people go and try. Congratulations, you are one. Yay.
So, like, I like to touch on like one thing because since you are now really successful in the social media, right?
Okay.
On TikTok or even on Instagram, your own Twitter. I mean, highly engaging. I believe like there's always this halo effect around you. Like people expect like, oh, Ceddy, you're famous now. We follow you. I follow you for what you like. So everything that Ceddy say about a restaurant must be true.
Oh, okay.
So if Ceddy says something wrong, it's Ceddy's fault. So do you feel that, or would you agree to that sentiment?
I mean, I appreciate people for having that trust on me. But I also have to tell people, sometimes I have gotten to a level, right, where you cannot expect me to be harsh. And also, honesty doesn't mean that I have to bash a place. If I enjoy the food, biarlah, I enjoy the food. If the food is good, I can't go and bash the food for no reason. A lot of people equate honesty with negativity, like I must hantam the business. Why? No. And nowadays, right, I have to acknowledge that I have a certain level of influence. I cannot be too harsh or too mean to a business. Sometimes people deserve a room to improve. Right? I go there, teruk, I hantam, bash. And then what if it's just that one day when the cook macam off a bit? When the cook maybe the silap or maybe he's in a bad mood, and then I have a bad experience. I'm like, oh, don't go there. If you go here, you will regret. And then, it's gonna create that kind of effect. Yeah. And I do not want that because I feel like now I am destroying someone's livelihood. Do I really want to go that route? No lah. But I do think that people must also remember one thing. What I say about a place is my opinion. It's my own review. Yeah. You have a functioning brain. You can also go and try it yourself. Like sometimes I have to tell people, you please remember one thing. If you had a bad experience at a restaurant, I wasn't there. When I went there, I had a good time. So you can't just tell me like, oh, I had a bad experience at Malatup. How can you say nice? Must be because you got paid. That's why you say nice things. Then that's not fair for me. So am I supposed to say the same? Like, oh, I think you are lying. You are trying to slander Malatu because I had a good time. You see, you will never win. Just respect everybody's opinion. That's all I'm saying. Right. Right or not?
Yeah, that's very, very good. So like for influencers, since we're talking about influencer marketing, right? So from your angle, how do you then balance, your mix of paid reviews and unpaid reviews?
So I think sometimes paid reviews, I think people will know. Yeah. Especially when I started getting very I use the jargons, I use the brand names, I think people will know lah. But most of my followings, they kind of know that, even though I am not, I'm sponsored, they kind of know that at least I'm quite okay and honest. Because I always tell brands, I refuse to be like, oh, sedap, nak mampus, oh, tak masuk akal. I was told to say that line for a business, and therefore, in the business, the whole thing didn't work out because I feel like it's a disrespectful thing for me to, oh, tak masuk akal, this is so good. Why? If a food is good, just say, oh, it's sedap, oh, it's crispy, it's enough, it's too spicy. But don't need to do the extra kwa chong face, Kwa chong means exaggerated, Yeah. So, feels like we're co-hosts, kan? I like it. I like the vibe. It's a very good conversation thingy. And okay, before we close this, right? Okay, so just give a very quick advice to, let's say, right, a non-Muslim approaches you and say, Peter, I also want to open my business. I also want to also get Muslim customers to enjoy my food. What would be your advice?
I think first off, it's really to find someone who understands the regulations, and not many people out there who studies. There are actually some consultants out there, and I think that if you are actually technically sound, you can actually get the standards and work your way through it. But probably because from my work experience, I've been dealing with things like ISO, GMP, HACCP. So for me, halal is quite easy, quite simple. But the thing is that always understand the regulations. There are so many bodies now, governmental bodies, for example, even on JAKIM, they actually have certain grants that you can apply to get your halal certification, because Malaysia itself, we are a halal hub. And we are famous that we are the top number one standard for halal in the region, and I think that itself is a testament. So if you can get it, it's so well studied that they have really proper guidelines to guide you through the whole thing. So just contact them directly if you need to. Yeah.
The way you know more than so many business owners is so impressive. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that's about time for us to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Peter, for joining me, sharing your opinion about influencer marketing and a little bit of the halal side of the business. Well, in the next episode, we're gonna talk about something that Peter mentioned, the 4 Ps. What are the 4 Ps? That's why you have to continue to listen lah. Right? Thank you for listening, sayangs.